YB stays on your neck.
It's on my neck.
Yo, my dons, make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and obviously hit the bell for notifications. So Dillian Silence White has reacted to Del Boy Chisora. Never mind reacted, he has somewhat reacted to the Derek Chisora versus David Price fight, and it's been a bit of a cryptic one here. Basically, after the fight, he retweeted the following: If I was the WBO president, I would make Usyk wait and make Dillian Whyte versus Derek Chisora the trilogy for the WBO world title. Now that's a fight. WBO, make it happen. And actually, the reason I'm doing this video was obviously because of this, but the other reason is I've seen quite a few fans in the comment section saying that they want to see the trilogy fight. Now I've got to be honest. If you just take the second result of the second fight, it's understandable why people say, "Oh, we don't need to see that." But when you actually look at the politics and the full what actually happened in that fight, in as much as he got 2 points taken away, and he was still on leading up on the cards. Do you understand that? That means, and in my opinion, by the way, I believe both of them points were BS. You got to remember, this ain't tickle your nuts. It's heavyweight boxing, and not only heavyweight boxing, you've got two of the most aggressive men in the last. It's on a serious note. In the last 20 years, in the last 20-ish years, 15-ish years, name me two more aggressive men than Chisora and Dillian Whyte. Name me two men that have more of a derby. It's a London derby out here. Name me two men who have more of that going on in the last 15 years. I can't name you none. In heavyweight boxing in the last 20 years. In British boxing, it's probably 25 years. So the reason that's relevant is you've got to expect it. You've got to expect a bit of whatever. It's a fight at the end of the day. And what gets me is, especially now that you've got to remember that there's things like there's organisations like the UFC about. So if people dig an elbow in, I'm not talking about swinging an elbow. I'm not even sure what Derek Chisora got points taken off. That's how unmemorable it was. But from what I remember, I think it was an elbow or something. But it wasn't. My point is, he wasn't slinging elbows. Sometimes in heavyweight boxing, when you're in the pocket mauling, as Chisora does, an elbow gets and what? In UFC, people can legally throw elbows. So I just don't see the big problem with it, really. Yes, of course, if someone's obviously low blowing, or if someone's obviously planning on throwing elbows, of course, as an example, Victor Ortiz versus Mayweather, that was a blatant headbutt. If someone's doing that, then of course, take the points off. But when you're in the mix of things, it's a massive derby fight. Both men are getting stuck in. No one was complaining. Dillian Whyte, you didn't see him grimacing or like looking awkward. It was a fight. That's what you expect. Two 260-pound men in there. Oh, I've got to take a point. No, I don't rate that. Yeah? He weren't doing nothing that you can't do in a UFC fight. I know it's not a UFC fight, but do you see how it makes a difference? You can do it. It's not like it's gonna. Oh well, if you're hitting someone on the back of the head, which isn't allowed in any sport, I get that. But for little bits like that, it's a fight. It's a fight. Let them fight. And I've always been of the. As long as it's legal in all sports, I've always been of the mind of if Chisora gets an elbow in accidentally, Dillian Whyte can slip one in as well. That's what I think. That's how it should be. It should be based on a tit for tat basis. All this over refereeing. You don't need referee. Mind your business. Let them fight until it gets out of hand as such. Until someone does something repeatedly. If someone just slips one in, it's a fight, man. And you also got to bear in mind these referees. They need to do their homework. Sometimes I think they just turn up and then take it as it comes. You need to do your homework on the type of fighter you've got. Chisora. Look at the David Price fight. He's not dirty. Yeah, look at how he fights. He's that kind of fighter. So you've got to take that into account. You can't just be over twitchy. That man was looking to take points off for nothing. Very odd, very weird behaviour. But the reason I've given you that background is to say that when you factor, he was 3 points up. Even if you say one of the points should be allowed, he was 2 or 3 points up, I believe, on the cards. So, and the reason he actually changed his game plan and became even more aggressive was because he was 2 points down and he believed, not being able to see the cards, he thought, you know what, I'm obviously toast on the cards. I'm never going to be winning a points decision here, even though he actually was. And then he went hell for leather and got a bit sloppy. Well, he was desperate for the win. His heart was so massive, he got clipped. So I do actually believe, in terms of financially speaking, Chisora does deserve that rematch. But once again, like I've said in a number of videos over the last few days, I don't want to see Dillian Whyte and Chisora killing themselves off together. Wilder, why don't you step up, you pussy? Do you know what I mean? Why is it all the UK dons got to slaughter each other, and Wilder just sits there nice and fresh, not fighting anyone, fighting not old men? I just don't. It just frustrates me. But then again, end of the day, they're big men. They make money anyway. So, but that's just my personal, as a purist as such, or as a boxing fan, I want to see different people handling challenges. Not all the same people all the time. It's always Dillian Whyte. It's always Chisora who have to kill each other off, and then Wilder sits there. Once Dillian Whyte and Chisora have killed each other in 5 fights, Wilder will rock up when they're both when they're both shot to pieces because they've been in 5 massive wars. And Dillian Whyte's been in there with AJ twice, and Dillian Whyte's been in there with AJ and Chisora 4 times, and all these kind of fights. Then he wants to rock up and say, "Yeah, man, Alabama Slammer, man. I beat Dillian Whyte after he fought Chisora 6 times and AJ 4 times. I'm the man, man." That's the kind of thing he'll do. He'll wait till everyone's AJ Dillian Whyte 5's on, and Dillian Whyte versus Chisora 6 is finished. Wilder will rock up and be like, "Yeah, man, Dillian Whyte's half in a wheelchair by then or something." That's when he'll want him. 100%. That's the only time he'll want him. He won't want him now when he's still fresh. Don't want no parts of that. Anyway, I'm not opposed to the fight. I think the fight's a good idea, apart from that reservation I've given. Let me know your thoughts. Actually, just quickly as well, this Usyk situation, I've got to agree. Not only what I've said earlier or throughout this video, I've got to agree from a point of view of what's Usyk done for the why is Usyk mandatory? Never mind, it's one thing being mandatory for WBO after coming up from cruiserweight, but the fact is not only mandatory, but he's actually instant mandatory. He's not only coming up, he's also got the WBO is talking about stripping the winner of AJ versus Ruiz just to give this man who's hasn't really had a good fight at heavyweight yet. He's mandatory. That don't make no sense to me. Usyk needs to earn it. He needs to beat someone like Chisora, like Dillian Whyte, because Dillian Whyte's been waiting in that WBO spot as an example. He needs to beat one of these men there. That's what I think. Chisora, Dillian Whyte, Wilder, even Dubois. He needs to beat someone like that to earn this shot. He shouldn't just rock up. I don't rate that at all. There's nothing in boxing law that says because you won a belt 20 pounds lighter, you're going to win a belt 20 pounds heavier. It's unheard of. People forget that it's not heavyweight, from cruiserweight to heavyweight isn't a normal weight category. There's actually like 20, 30 pounds in it. In reality, that's about 4 weight divisions. Does that make sense? As an example, if you go up from 140, or if you go up from 135 to 140, that's only £5. Usyk's going from 213 fighting people like AJ at 240, 250. So it's a much bigger gap. Even on percentage terms, it's a massive gap, meaning that it's even less likely he's going to be effective. But anyway, let me know your thoughts.